How are you finding the apprentices coming through at the moment?
Yep. No, it's the same. Some are really good. Some you got to give a kick in the ass, like some aren't doing their bookwork and, but they're young. That's life, though.
What is success to you?
I think it was a learn to love it experience.
And there's always pitfalls that you can fall in, but then you've got no one else to blame but yourself.
Number one thing if you're struggling is to catch up with people about it.
Hey guys, before we kick off, I just wanted to take a quick second to say thanks to our content partners, Abodo. You probably know Abodo from their feature timbers like cladding, decking, screening, and all those beautiful timbers that make our projects look amazing. Now, on top of all that, Abodo timber is actually grown and manufactured right here in New Zealand, and it's actually verified carbon negative. Now, what the heck is carbon negative? I'm going to be honest with you, I had to Google that. Carbon negative means Abodo actually takes more carbon out of the air than it puts in. That's got to be good, right? For the environment at least. Cheers, Abodo. You guys are actually legends. Now, let's kick off this episode. Todd Broswick, thanks for coming on the podcast.
All good, man.
Yeah, I've been seeing your vehicles around the place and signage around the place for a while, and been keen to get you guys on the podcast.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Yeah, no, we've just been talking a little bit off air around what the market's doing. Obviously, it's definitely a bit tougher in New Zealand. But then we talked around how the block is a good indicator of where the market's at. If I just read an article in Melbourne how the block there sort of tanked. So that kind of shows you the market's sort of dipping a bit, and then when the block comes back later,
yeah, the market's picking up, same as New Zealand, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for coming on. It's a little bit random side convo there. But tell me a little bit about yourself then, Todd. So you, I want to hear a little bit about your business as well, and sort of how you got into it and got it growing. But where did you grow up? Did you grow up around?
I grew up on the shore. So, went to Westlake, great school.
Love it.
My son's there now, which is good. Grew up there. Left school at 16, did a building apprenticeship, which was pretty good. Always enjoyed building at school and at the woodwork, probably the best grades I got. So, turned into a builder, which was good. So, lucky enough to apprenticeship when I was 16, and then in and out of that, travelled quite a bit while I was young. Sort of worked for a guy here and then do sort of a year on and then go overseas snowboarding for 6 months and work in Aspen, so building over there as well.
Cool, in Aspen.
Yeah, so I was pretty lucky. Yeah.
So you did, so you'd build a bit here and then when you go over there, you build there.
My brother was a builder as well who lived in the States in Aspen, so it was really good. I was earning $8.60 an hour as an apprentice here. And then the first year I went over, I would have been about 18 probably. And then, went over there, snowboarding and working, building amazing houses, and then getting paid I remember getting paid $8 here. I was getting paid about, first year there was about 25 US.
Holy
and back
smokes.
then it was, the currency was like, the extra 50. So it was like you're earning $50 New Zealand comparative to $8.60 or something. Yeah,
So you were just like creaming it, like shouting drinks for everyone all the time.
When I got back,
So Aspen, so I assume that there'd be like amazing houses to be built there.
Yeah. No, it was pretty lucky to be part of some pretty amazing builds there. And then, I just got hooked. So bar, the 5 back-to-back winters in a row, that was probably the hardest part. No summer.
Yeah.
But the building was amazing. The technology over there back then was, just so far advanced from New Zealand as well. Learnt a lot.
Yeah, and what were some examples of how they build differently there than here?
Well, in Aspen, there's no pre-cut, pre-nails. The houses are, big timber, proper timber, log sort of houses. Well, there's log ones, but there's, also just craftsmanship homes, big beam and post houses. So, it was, quite different.
So you have to be a bit more like almost more skillful and
definitely.
It's an old school building.
Yep, old school building. Learned a lot, especially working with my brother who's really onto it. So learned a lot over there, which was pretty lucky.
Okay, so you so before, and that's obviously probably after you got qualified, right? You went over. Or
No,
was that
I was
even
sort
before?
of. I'd just take sort of 6 month stints,
Right.
which worked for a guy, and I left him. Then when I came back, worked for another guy who's still he's a really good chippy as well, and a really good guy. Sort of my New Zealand mentor, which he's a really good guy as well. So I was lucky enough to like come and go. He let me come and go, which was pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty lucky that he was open for you to do that.
Yeah.
So you kind of went back and forth, and then what did you have to almost like do your apprenticeship when you got back after 5 years?
No, I finished the apprenticeship finally. I just come and go and finished my apprenticeship here. I was brought back quite a bit of knowledge as well, and all the new tools over there. And I remember bringing a laser back in the day, and no one had lasers. They're common now. Everyone's gone back. Back then, no one had them. There'd be the odd probably kitchen maker had one, and that was it. But back then, it was they're 10 years ahead.
Right.
In the States.
And what was their sort of approach to building back then over in the States that were like innovative and forward thinking?
There's just a tool for everything. It's American. There's a tool for everything, so it's quite different. New Zealand's getting better now. There's definitely a lot more tools available, and it's we've caught up. But back then, people were still doing things pretty backwards here.
Yeah. So it's kind of like things can move faster. You have the right tools. You can do things properly, do it faster and better.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So no, it's interesting. So.
Yes. And who? What sort of guy were you back then? What was the vibe? If I had to ask your mates, who was Todd back then? What was the vibe?
Good question, man. Probably snowboarder, really. Drifting around, snowboarding. But working was important. I always worked, loved building. So between that, and that was good.
And so then, so you went back and forth. Took you probably a little bit longer to get your apprenticeship done, right? Because you only did 6 months at the time.
Yeah, 100%. But I was working over there and brought back knowledge, and so it did take a little bit longer. But once I got it, then I moved back over there, and then shot up to when we live in Vancouver for a few years.
Okay.
Up there. So that was quite cool.
So you moved there full time?
Full time. My wife's Canadian, well, half Canadian. So we went up and hung out there for a few years, which was cool.
And you did just build for someone while you were there?
Yeah. Managed. I worked for he was an architect / draftsman that I worked for, and he'd draw the plans, and then I started building it for him. Then he wanted me to take over the company, like the building side of things, but we wanted to come back here for, kids and family.
Yeah. And did you always kind of have in your mind that you wanted to like run your own company, or did that sort of?
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
Yeah, because a lot of builders, they kind of like, they go, yeah, cool, I'll get apprenticeship, get qualified, and then run my own company. So how long did it take you after, you kind of, I assume you came back, how long did it take you before you, after you got qualified versus when you started Broswick Builders?
Yeah, I think I started Broswick when I was about 28, I think, so sort of overseas for quite a few years, and then came back. Worked for the same guy that let me come and go.
Poor guy.
He's a great dude. As I said, like a good mentor on business and running teams and stuff. So he's been a great support of mine, which is still good mates with him now. So that's good. So then worked for him for a tiny bit, and then just started my own thing, and sort of just started off small. Just take some fence. I had a mate that needed a house built, so I went and built that with him, and then sort of just picked up from there, and
Right, so was that your first project as your own company, as you're doing your own thing?
Yes, I built a friend's place with him, and then after that I built another friend's place, and then sort of just grew from there. Then I picked up an apprentice and then carried on, and just grew from there.
And what was that like, kind of doing your own thing? Was it like, were you just like loving it? Did you feel confident? Did you feel, were you shitting yourself? Were you just happy to not have a boss? What was the vibe like back then, if you can remember?
It was sort of a natural sort of thing, but you're always shitting yourself. You learn a lot because you don't know anything. I've been knocking it out since I was 16, so suddenly turning into a business owner, it's a bit of a learning curve. I was lucky. My wife's pretty onto it, so she's been a real big support. So
that's
she's
good.
been really big support. So that's with bookwork and whatnot. So that's the hardest part.
So she's taken a lot of that off your plate?
Yeah, 100%. Or helped along the way and taken a lot off the plate, which is great.
Yeah, and does she work in the business now as well, or no?
Yes. Yeah, she's got her own business, but helps us out, and we've grown a lot since then. So yeah, she does help out still, but we got the QS and other people in the office now, so helps us a lot.
So when you started your own, did you straight away get a brand new ute?
No, it wasn't one of those builders. No, it took a little bit of time. Actually, no, I brought a ute back from the States, actually. So I was lucky enough to have an old gas guzzling American truck for a while.
Oh, that's cool. That would have been cool when you got back here. And
it was epic. Around. Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, and it was pretty cheap comparatively because over there they don't cost much. But bar the gas was quite expensive. But other than that, it was cool.
Awesome. Okay, so how did you then go? How did you learn a lot of the business side at the start there, Todd? Like, did you have a mentor, or was there anyone that you could learn from, or was it just
no? It was sort of just by yourself, man, just by making mistakes and learning from them, really. Yeah, if you underpriced a job accidentally, you lose money, and you start to realise pretty quickly.
Yeah, we were talking about before, when you got in here, around how builders, they tend to hold their cards quite close to their chest. Not a lot of sort of sharing going around, or maybe more now than 10 years ago. But people tend to still sort of just try to chip away at them, by themselves. Like how would you, now that you look back, how would you have done it differently if you had to start again? Is there any way you would have done it differently, or not really?
I guess not really. Would have probably asked a few more questions, and But as you're right, builders don't give away a lot, which isn't the ideal thing. They should be a little bit more open, and I try to teach my guys definitely a lot of that going through. We've had, we've got good staff rates. We've got some guys that have been with us 10 years plus.
Cool.
Had some guys come through and working for themselves and doing really well as well. So always have to support them as well, which is good, and try to give them enough knowledge to go out by themselves and back them.
Yeah. So when guys are sort of making it known to you that they may want to go out on them, do their own thing eventually.
Yep.
You don't mind. You sort of.
No, well, that's just you have to be a bit of a dick if you it's great to see people grow, and it's good for them to do it.
And are you able to help them with aspects beyond the building in terms of the business stuff?
Yeah, I try to, especially if they ask any questions. I got one guy at the moment. He's about to go up by himself, but he's given me like a year's notice, and he's sort of like
awesome.
He really wants to finish his job he's on, but he's flexible, and he's like, oh yeah. So you kind of got to be flexible and support him when he does go up by himself, and give him the knowledge that he needs.
Yeah, I think that's a good attitude. It's like that. There's this. I heard this quote. It wasn't a quote. It was like someone was just talking, and he was just. He said that if a guy was teaching his staff a whole bunch of stuff, and then another guy came to him and said, "Mate, what if you teach them all this stuff and then they leave?" And then he said to him, "Well, what if I don't teach them anything and they stay?"
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be way worse.
No.
So I guess it's a mentality thing, right? To want to pour into the young guys coming up. And
100%. You got to pass the knowledge on and create a good work environment.
Yeah.
So we try to do that. I think that's key as well. Like, you spend half your life at work. You want to make sure you got to come and enjoy it and have a little bit of fun along the way, and learn and grow.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So what's your sort of like approach to, while we're talking about that, around like leadership and like, how many guys have you got there working for you at the moment?
We sit around about 20 guys.
Awesome. Okay, that's a good sized team, mate. And so how do you kind of, what's your philosophy on leadership in terms of how you kind of lead the guys?
I don't know. Good question. Making it, fun to come to work, a good, enjoyable, like social side of things as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important to, just making teams, make them want to be there, make them want to learn. We've always got one foreman that, the young guys, look up to, and they, progressing. So they'll want to take over his role one day when he leaves, or wants to be like that. So that's sort of just grows naturally, really, if you got the right guys in place.
Yeah, it sort of becomes like a cultural thing, where the young guys learn from the older guys, and it sort of just flows through because you've been around a while.
Yeah, because you need the lineage coming through, which is really important. I think that's what makes a good company and makes good builders.
Yeah, 100%. So do you hire people, like qualified people, or do you kind of try to get them up on the bottom up?
The problem with some qualified people that we hired, they've been just taught the wrong way and they don't quite fit in, right? So, but we've got a few, but yeah, most of our guys are coming through, and it takes a while. Even our qualified guys that once they start to get used to our ways and how we work.
Yeah, and when you normally hire someone, what's sort of like the prerequisites for someone to come work for you guys in terms of them, mentality and skill wise and that sort of thing?
As long as they got a good attitude and sort of, the good thing with building, if they're any good after the first day or two. Right. We have had some guys that have only lasted a day or two.
I mean, what do you tell them? Be like, thanks for coming in. Or...
Yeah, mate, it's not going to work out. They talk a big game and they don't know what they're doing. But and there's a few like that. So
yeah. What is the state of builders out there at the moment? Like, are you impressed? Not impressed? What are your thoughts?
I think a lot of the young guys coming through are epic. Yeah. But then there's a lot of kids that are useless. So depends. But no, I think about it. A lot of our young guys are doing a really good job and they're into it, they're keen, they're doing the right thing. So I think they're out there.
Yeah, for sure. So what's your sort of crew mix like at the moment, like in terms of how's your team set up? How many projects do you guys like to do at a time?
Yeah, we usually run about 4-ish projects at a time.
Okay, so 20 guys?
Yeah, sort of 4 to 5 guys on. But, we're always finishing up little bits and, with building it's not as easy as planned. You've always got something that might run over and something to start, so it's always a little bit of a juggling act, but it works pretty well.
And how do you run the project? So do you have like a project manager, or do you have like site managers running it? Or how do you do it?
Yeah, we got the site managers that basically foreman, they take care of their own jobs, like basically, that's their baby, so they responsible for it, and they like to take charge. They don't really like me. Well, I still oversee it, but they don't really like being told what to do as much.
Yeah, having you come in and looking over their shoulders. So they'll run the whole show, project manager.
Yeah, well, I'll project manage it, and they'll sort of run their show. But all of our foremen have been, as I said, we're lucky enough to have, I think, 5 guys with 10 years plus with us. So they're usually in charge. Well, they are in charge. So they know how we roll now. So it's pretty easy.
Okay. And then you'll have like a few qualified guys and then like an apprentice or something on site.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Usually a couple of qualified and an apprentice with them.
And how are you finding the apprentices coming through at the moment?
Yep. No, it's the same. Some are really good. Some you got to give a kick in the ass, Some aren't doing their bookwork and, but they're young. That's life though.
Yeah, when you're a bit younger, you have a bit of a different mentality. Do you find the attitude's good though with the young guys coming through?
Yep, I think that's really good.
Yeah, because that's all you ask for really for the young guys, It's just a good attitude.
A good attitude and wanting to learn. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to be a dick. It's an easy.
Yeah.
Easy thing. Yeah.
That's good. It's very interesting how you're saying about like having a fun environment. I've talked to a lot of builders now and around their teams, and it seems to be like keeping it light, and it's sort of like important. Like making sure guys are having fun, enjoying themselves.
Yeah, and checking in with the boys. There's a lot of the mates and trades. It's one of the highest suicide rates I think in our industry. So you want to make sure they're having fun and they're all right and check in. Yeah.
And how do you approach that? Do you how do you check in with guys?
Well, I probably don't do it enough to be fair, but we're trying. And Reese, my business partner, he's pretty good at it. So everyone's got different skills, so he's always checking in on the boys, which is good.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Okay. So in terms of your company, like like I said, I've seen you guys around for a while, and you work on amazing projects, award-winning company, which is like pretty cool. Your company, in terms of getting new staff coming through, hiring new people, how do you get, we talked about culture. Do you guys do, on a practical sense, I want to know, like, do you guys do like, Friday beers, or you guys get together? Like, what sort of stuff do you guys do?
Yeah, we try. We do Friday beers. We've got a social club that one of the boys runs. So, I think we're on to our 3rd social club leader. So they, have turns at running it for a couple of years at a time, and then sort of they send out a text, hey guys, we're going for a beer, and then they organise, a midwinter, a couple of things a year.
Yeah.
So a couple of team building things. Actually, today we were off to play. After we were going to that simulating golf thing.
Cool.
Sorted up for a sort of midwinter thing. So we go to the simulating golf and have some beers and some pizza afterwards, and good team building things, and the boys hang out. It's good.
And you find it's like valuable, like having that sort of social time outside of work for the guys.
100%. Yeah. As I said, you want to come to work.
Yeah. And guys getting along and building friendships and that, it's kind of part of it, right? It's important.
Yeah, 100%. You got to get along though.
Yeah. And in terms of growth, so you run 4 projects, you've built it up. When you have 20 guys, like that's a solid amount of guys to kind of keep busy, and it's a big ship you got to run. Mm-hmm. How do you sort of maintain good quality of your builds? Because you guys got projects, you're not just banging up like, multi-unit, kit set stuff. It's sort of like, it's complicated, it's architectural, beautiful details. How do you maintain quality when you grow? So
well, as I said, 20 guys, we got above that, and it was just too many, so you lose a bit of control. But lucky enough, we put things in place now. I've got myself that I'm always around. Then I've brought on Reese, who's as a business partner, so he stepped up. So now he's sort of doing my role as well. So there's sort of 2 of us to go and check on everything, and just got to help everyone out and go make sure the details right. Talk to the architects, look at the plans. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But
and so you're just making your rounds, making sure you're there constantly.
Have to, yeah. But as I said, we're lucky enough to have the 10-year plus guys that they're epic. Like they can do most things without me.
That's good, eh?
Which we'll put in place, but won't last forever. But hopefully we got the lineages coming through that the young guys can take over and do the same roles.
Yeah. What a freedom, mate, to just have those guys kind of like looking over things.
They make make my life easy. Still hard, but still make it a lot easier than it could be.
So in terms of, you guys don't necessarily do like documented quality control processes or anything like that. It's mostly like a cultural thing passed down through the guys.
100%. Yeah, that's how we've run it, and that seems to be working. So
if it
don't
ain't broke,
don't need to fix it.
Yeah. It's funny, my dad used to always tell me, just talking about like checking in on the guys constantly and things go right.
Yeah.
He had, I think it's his, because he's a farmer.
Yep.
And he took his, took the farm over from my granddad.
Yep.
And some things were going wrong with the sheep for a while, like, worms. Like it was like things going wrong. I'm not a farmer, so I can't remember what exactly. But he asked his dad like what to do, like all this stuff going wrong. And it might have been a story that his granddad told him, actually. I don't think that actually happened to my dad. My granddad told him the story of a guy that had, that had the same problem. And a guy asked his dad, and his dad gave him like this bag. And he said, don't look what's in there, but I want you to go down to the sheep every day and just show them the little pouch, but don't look what's in there. Just go around the sheep and just show them the pouch.
Yeah.
And the guy, my dad told me the story. The guy was like, "Oh, that's a bit weird, but okay, I'll do it." And he goes, and then 6 months later, he checks in again, and his dad goes, "Yeah, how's the sheep and everything been going? Everything going right?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's been no issues. Like everything's going really well. Like what's in the bag?" And then he's like, "Oh, you can look in the bag if you want." You open the bag, and it was just rocks in there. And the whole idea was that like if you just go check in with them every day, things will go fine.
Yep. No,
and if you don't.
That's when, yep.
And it was 100%. A good little story, you know what I mean? It was like a good analogy. So it's very good to do that. So in terms of people always want to know, how do you guys get your work? What's your secret sauce? Like, there's obviously some secret out there that you...
I wish there was a secret, mate, but no, there's not. Word of mouth. Like, do a good job and you'll get repeat customers, We work with a few architects. With an array of architects, but I think the main thing is if you deliver your last job, you're only as good as your last job. So as long as you sort of deliver a good product, you always have work.
And your approach, so I assume that you're the guy that does a lot of the sales, the front end sales. Mm-hmm. So how do you sort of approach it? Do you have like a strategy or some sort of rough strategy in your head of like, well, I want to target the end consumer, like the person building their home, or I want to target the architect or consultant? Like, what's your sort of approach to it?
Good question. same thing happens organically. For us, I just we always you can email whether it's from an architect or a client, and go around. Sometimes we suggest the architects to use, so then we're at the forefront of it. So you work. There's a process from yo to woe. Someone that might go, think about building house. I'm like, cool, have a meeting with them. Then I'd recommend an architect, and then it goes that way. And typically, we get the job. And then it's the other way. Sometimes architects approach us, and then we get the job through that way. So there's no rhyme or reason, to be fair.
Yeah. And I think that's actually more close to the truth, right? Because people do look for a silver bullet. They look for like a secret sauce. But from just from talking to a lot of builders over the years, it definitely is about all the focus needs to be in doing an amazing job for your current project.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep, 100%.
And then that will give you a good reputation for your next one.
For your next job, yeah.
And success breeds success, right? The more you do, the more projects you'll end up getting. And
the proof's in the pudding, right? So, sometimes we'll, if we have a new client and we'll say, hey, look, just come and I'll take you around a few of the jobs, current ones and old ones, while the boys are working. And some of the houses we've finished, and they'll go, oh, shit, this is, you guys did an epic job. And, typically, hopefully we, win the job. But you never know.
And what's your sort of sales process like in terms of, a new client comes to you? Do you guys use an external QS? Internal?
Yeah, we've got a QS,
Yeah, in-house?
Or
like
external, but...
does all your
all my
QS
stuff,
work?
all my QS work and a lot
so
of stuff.
do you quote so a client comes to you, do you help them design their home kind of to budget? Do you help do you work in with them in the architect?
Sometimes yes, if we're that involved, if they've got a budget, like sometimes same thing, like some clients don't like to tell us the budget, which doesn't really help, right?
No.
And and sometimes they do, and you're like, oh shit, it's well over designed. So, there's a lot of that where the architects over design for people's budget. So it is good for us to be involved in, try to rein it back within a budget, which is good. And
do you guys do like do you kind of quote for free, or do you charge for it? How does that work?
Yeah, we do. We quote for if we get the job, it's usually included in our P&G. But most jobs we do price, we kind of select a little bit. If there's too many builders pricing it, we won't bother, because really based on price, and we price things right. It costs me probably 10 grand-ish to price a job. So we want to make sure we're in for a shot on it,
right?
And we price it right, where some other builders don't.
Yeah. So you guys wouldn't be necessarily out there doing a whole bunch of tenders?
Nah, typically not. We do a few tenders, but as long as it's only a couple of builders, which typically the architects will let us know who they are. So as long as they're in our league, we'll definitely tender, because we should be all, if you're a good builder and you're doing things right, we should all be within Kui.
Yeah. And how do you guys demonstrate value, beyond just price? So someone comes to you, it's another builder. How have you guys been able to sort of demonstrate that the value that you guys bring?
I'll just come and see our other jobs, past jobs and past clients, really.
So you have a few clients that almost lined up, like ready for you to come show people through? Or?
Yep. Yeah, they're happy to show other people their homes and talk about their experience, which is pretty lucky.
Yeah. Have you guys ever had like a show home over the years, or no?
Nah. No.
Yeah, it's a high cost outlay, and it's very expensive, and most people can't do it. But
what's more for the the cookie cutter houses that have show homes?
Yeah, kind of more the volume builders.
Yeah. Ours are pretty. Yeah, we built some pretty bespoke, interesting homes.
Okay, so in terms of your, so that's how you do your sales, and in terms, because this is just builders want to know, how you get your projects, how you guys run these things. So in terms of your marketing, do you guys do much marketing or not really?
Oh, we do. I've got not too much paid marketing. I've got a friend that's an influencer who does our Instagram, so she helps me out there, which
that's cool. That's
good.
pretty handy.
Yeah, so she goes and does that. So that's about what we're doing at the moment. I'm trying to update the website, and lucky enough to be been in a few magazines, and we've had a few House of the Year awards, so I think that also helps.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, you guys definitely have built up a good name over the years, just from, like I see you guys working on some amazing projects, so that definitely helps,
Yeah.
signage outside.
Yeah, definitely signage, yeah. I mean, that's pretty key, signage, yeah. And I think that definitely Master Builders House of the Year's helped us a bit with winning that a few times, which is really good.
And in terms of running your business, like the business side, do you ever, are there any resources out there that you've tapped into over the years that's helped you? Like, is there any coaching or just a mentor or like books you've read or anything like that? Or is it just sort of like trial and error for you guys?
Pretty much trial and error, but I've had, as I said, like the guy I work for, he's been a pretty good mentor. So, bouncing stuff off him. In Master Builders, I was chairman of North Harbour for a bit, so I got to, meet quite a few builders and have a chat with them. So it's always good learning off some of the older guys and, what to do and what not to do.
Yeah, because like in terms of with building, it's always hard to know, like, how do you know you're on the right track? If you're not sharing information, if you're not sort of seeing what people are up to, is that, especially the early years, is it just sort of just fake it until you make it? Or?
100%, mate. Yeah. Yeah. I used to do all our pricing, everything, especially at the early days. You're up till midnight pricing and then back on the tools at 7 in the morning and doing the hard yards. And unfortunately, up till midnight pricing, and it's not really your strong point. You're gonna muck some things up along the way. But you learn from it, learn from the mistakes. And nowadays with the QS, that's what they're good at. I'm good at building and overseeing things and managing guys, but that's not my strong point really.
Yeah. In terms of the business now, you said obviously your wife's helping you and you got your QS in there now and stuff like that. But in terms of your business numbers, just for you personally, how do you know if things are tracking as they should? Like, what's sort of like the numbers that you sort of keep an eye on to make sure that things are as they should be?
It's all project based, we do tracking costs on each project and we run Builder Trend, which is, the software we run. So we're always trying to keep making sure we're there or thereabouts, especially for the clients, because it sucks for the clients if there's a big blowout. And we tend to just price things right now. So we miss out on a few jobs because we do. I believe we're pricing it right. And so, we're considered expensive, but it's amazing. I've had some other clients that, jobs we'd priced and they didn't go with us. And it's cost them exactly what we said it was going to cost them. Someone's come in a few $100,000 cheaper and, it's ended up costing exactly what our QS said. And I was like, well, and they go, we wish we should have gone with you. So,
yeah, because like at the end of the day, like things do sort of cost what they cost, right? Like how much variability could there really be in the real cost? Obviously people can undercut, by having lower labour costs or doing less margins on things.
Yeah, it's only labour and margin, isn't it? But it's all should be pretty stable across the board. It's
Yeah, so if you have like a $2 million project, but there's like a $400,000 difference in cost, then some mistake was made, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and and it will end up costing a bit, whether it's something's tagged out or or left out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we used to work quite well when I had my building business. Was that we used to use the external QS. And then we used to just say that, instead of being like, this is our price, we used an external QS, but we would say this is an external QS and we'd get the QS to invoice them directly from a mental point of view, philosophy, and then we'd say that's the cost. So it's not our cost, it's the cost.
The cost.
And it's just like a little shift.
Yeah, PQS, yeah. So we have clients with their own QSs and our QSs, and we typically try and get the two QSs together and nut it out themselves, because that's...
Perfect, because that's like the perfect way to do it.
It is, yeah. And that's worked out great because, their PQS or client QS, typically they just type square metres into a program and blah, blah, blah. So then our QS... starts off probably that way, but adds in, we sit down and say, you're like, well, you always meet somewhere in the middle, or they come to the understanding as, oh, yeah, that's right, it's a feat that's not going to take 2 minutes to do with, miters on each corner, and, that's going to take a lot longer than throwing a bit of cement board up there,
Yeah, and then you're obviously your QS know how long you guys take to do certain things and how you operate, and And so I think there is definitely a truth element to how much things cost and a little variability. But I don't know, sometimes when people get these massive differences in quotes. You know?
Yeah, it happens, people, or, you just haven't looked at the plans and allowed enough time, At the moment we're doing a big curved house and, throwing numbers at that is like, it's not easy.
Yeah, once you get curved walls in there. I had someone on there here the other day, Mitch from Tiari Construction.
Yeah, he's doing some concrete for me at the moment up in Tiari, actually.
Oh, yeah, he's a good man, eh?
Yeah,
and he was showing me this project where he did a walkthrough and I think he said just building the mold for the spiral staircase was like over $1 million.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah.
I was like, there's some of these places, just the mold. It's like, that's not even like building the staircase.
Yeah, he's probably talking about the domes up in Tiari, I think.
Yeah,
like
probably. Yeah, and then it wasn't much like of a thing up the top either. It was just sort of like just a view.
Yeah, just a view. Yeah, up to the bar view. Yeah. No, we were talking about that the other day as well. There's some amazing place up there. They're up to 150 mil, I think, on that build.
That is crazy. So you end up paying probably like $3 million for a staircase that goes nowhere.
Nah, yeah. But hey, it's cool. It's different. It's American offshore money.
That's pretty
it's
cool.
amazing places up there, so it's pretty cool.
So you guys have you're building a place up at Tiari as well? At the moment?
We got one on up there at the moment, which is quite cool.
Amazing. Is that a cool project?
Yeah, that's a curved one. So I think it's going to turn out pretty cool. Yeah, a lot of work.
What the biggest challenge up there is? I mean, there's obviously heaps of challenges, but a big challenge there is like the wind and the
sand.
It's a
big sand pit. Yeah.
So you guys just have to like every couple of times a day kind of
sweep out some sand. Nah, it's not that bad. It's only on certain
bad days.
Certain winds. Yeah, we put up a big sand break, so it sort of hits the brake and goes over.
Yeah, because it can really get into like the doors and the sliding doors and all that.
Yeah,
right?
I think there's been a few issues up there with doors and stuff. So there's some houses getting replaced at the moment. Not our jobs, but it's a harsh environment up there.
Yeah, beautiful though.
Yeah, it's a great place.
What's sort of the hardest time you've gone through running your business over the years? What are some of the challenges, or what's the biggest challenge you've gone through?
Probably day to day. Like if you sometimes you get just a difficult client that you're not gelling, and that can be, that can be a challenge. Yep, and you're stuck with them for a year, so you're gonna, or two. You're like, oof. And that's probably, if you don't get along and not on the same page, that can be pretty frustrating. There's no way out, right? So you got to bear and grin it, and it does happen. If you don't have that relationship, and it doesn't happen often, but when it does, we have had that happen before, and they get a good job in the end, but it's tough.
It's painful, if that alignment's not there. And I guess people listening to this would say, boo-hoo, if you get the amazing job, with a beautiful architectural build and you don't quite get along, well, at least you get the project. But it can take it out of you quite a bit mentally, right? If it's,
100%. Yep, no, I've had it happen once. I was an architect owner, and it was just, he was not a very nice guy. Horrible to the guys on site, so the guys didn't really want to be there either, It was just made for a tough year. It was hard.
And how has that affected the way you kind of choose your projects now?
Oh, I think as much as, when I'm going to look at a job and a client, as much as they're interviewing you, you're sort of interviewing them as well, because it is an important thing. You got to get along and make sure that relationship's going to be there, and not ruin your life for a year or two. Yeah,
that's a big part, because like a lot of builders, like I've got my other business Grow, and we like a marketing side. We always talk to builders, and over the years, not so much now, but like over the years, builders used to always just say, we get referrals, it's fine.
Yeah.
But sometimes builders, it's like that whole thing. You have like the cup with like the, if you've seen that analogy, you put the big rocks in first.
Yeah.
And then you put in like the small rocks and then the sand. Mm-hmm. And so it's really important to be selective, right? So you get most of your work is filled up with the big rocks, like the ones you want. Yeah. And then you can fill in the bit in between. Yeah. But sometimes builders, if they have only relied on referrals, but they're not, they're just sort of taking what comes through the door and they're not selective.
Yeah.
You kind of fill half the cup with some sand and then
you're all over the show, which is not everything's going to be perfect either, but and it is hard to, but you typically get a feeling, right, when you're meet someone whether it all gels.
Yeah, and obviously in this market, especially now, is beggars can't always be choosers.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, you can't. But
You've got to be realistic.
you do. Yeah, it's a bit of both, isn't it? But
Yeah,
yeah,
100%.
frustrating.
How do you? Always interested to know. Like, so you're part of Master Builders, right?
Yes. Yep.
Are you also part of the other crew, NZCB? or
No, just Master Builders.
Okay.
Been there.
So how do you set up your contracts? So do you do you use Master Builders?
Yes,
contracts?
yeah, we use Master Builder contracts for a lot of the jobs. Well, probably half the jobs, and most of our bigger jobs are typically NZIA.
Right.
Architecturally run. If there's architects involved, you can't use a Master Builder's contract. So if it's architecturally run, it's either NZIA or 36910 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
And do you, is there any sort of additional clauses or anything that you've kind of put into your contracts over the years that's helped you sort of reduce risk?
Learning, yes, starting to. We had an incident recently actually with some subcontractor, and it's a nominated subcontractor, so I don't really want to go into it, but nominated subcontractor, which I didn't really choose. We'd never worked with them before. It's the only person in New Zealand that could do the job, but it's nominated by the architect, the client. We have to use him, and he didn't do a very good job. So, and that falls back on me, right? So, trying to put those clauses in, if it's owners and architects nominated sub, we'll definitely put that in there, because if you haven't worked with them and don't have a relationship, it can bite you in the ass. And
what would you be putting in the agreement for that?
Just it's their responsibility then. If they don't, if they don't turn up, if they don't deliver a good product, it's not on you.
And also, have you got subcontractor agreements in place?
Yes, yeah. Use the Master Builder subcontractor agreements.
Yeah, because that could be beneficial as well in terms of just keeping everything above.
Yeah. Definitely gotta have them.
And what sort of the building industry doesn't come without its risks, right?
Yeah.
What sort of advice would you have? Now looking back at your career, what advice would you have for younger builders coming through that are sort of going into starting their own businesses? Maybe they're a year or two in, around cash flow and risk management. Do you have any sort of thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's probably the toughest thing. You're a second tier lender, right? You're basically a second tier lender, and you kind of just got to get used to it. It's an interesting setup the industry has. But we're owed millions, and luckily, hopefully, all the clients pay. But you are a second tier lender because you're putting out, you're doing all the work first. You're paying for everything, and then you're getting paid. So I don't know. It's an interesting industry. Would be good to have in the States. They've got an escrow, so there's always they put it in a holding account. And New Zealand should really go onto that, and then it protects the client and the builder, but they don't really have that here. So definitely picking your clients, and as much as they do background checks on you, make sure you do background checks on them to make sure that they haven't been bankrupt or they're liquid.
Yeah. And how up to play are you with your payment claims and setting that up effectively with, or do you payment claims?
QS does it. Yeah. So we're monthly, we're right up to date.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we've streamlined that. Now we have been a bit up and down in the last few years, but we're pretty good on it now.
Yeah, we had like a lawyer on, Phil Collins, a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you caught that episode or not.
No, I haven't seen that one.
But we talked a lot about payment claims and how to set that up properly. And even though it's come like 21 years ago or something, it came through the construction.
Now you just have to have that the clause. Make sure you have all the clauses on your invoices. Yeah, it's a huge. One,
and the attachment as well.
Attachment, yep.
And so just putting payment claim on your invoice doesn't make it a payment claim.
No, it doesn't. You got to have all the jargon that goes with it. Which, no, we're on that as well.
Yeah, so I've talked to so many builders since that episode that have been in business like 5 years,
that
10 years.
Haven't been doing it. They just send an invoice.
That know nothing about payment claims.
Yeah.
And there's been guys, I had a guy on the other day here that had a $266,000 outstanding bill.
But he didn't have the
payment claims. But I mean, you can still issue a payment claim as far as I understand, I'm definitely not a lawyer. You can still issue a payment claim afterwards.
Yes. 100%. You just
and people don't
attach
know
it.
that.
No, you can do it afterwards for sure.
Yeah.
It's just getting that paperwork in place and doing it right, because same thing. It's all a learning curve. You only learn once it goes wrong, right?
Yeah.
So then it's just learning from your mistakes, and if you don't get paid, and passing this. It's a good thing about this podcast. It should be teaching builders how to do things, and giving advice and learning from other people's mistakes. Better than learning from your own,
Yeah, exactly. Except for when I'm saying something, people definitely shouldn't take that as advice. But just here facilitating the transfer of information. But the payment claims one is one that I found so good, because I just love the aspect of, like, you send them the payment claim, then they have that limited time to respond if they not happy with it.
7 days, I think.
Yeah. And then if they don't respond, it's over.
It's over. Yeah, they have to. They got 7 days to reply. If they don't reply in 7 days, well, then that's payment claim accepted.
Yeah. So I kind of like that process, because it forces them to engage with you.
Yeah.
Rather than that whole thing of like, well, I'll get back to you.
Yeah. No, it is interesting. I think 7 days, and then you've only got a certain amount of time to reply back to that as well. Yeah. No, it is quite.
Yeah.
Works good.
Well, at least to the point, if someone goes, well, I think you've only done 80% of this component of the job, they have to then they have to tell you, well, I am going to pay you the 80%.
Yes.
And I'm withholding the 20.
Yep.
So then it forces them to engage, and you can get somewhere. But if you just sort of send an invoice, you don't hear from them, and then 3 months later, it's like, but you didn't really do all of it, and it's just such a lot of ambiguity around it. So I do like the structure.
Yep.
Yeah. So, which is really important. I do ask people, what's the biggest financial hit you've taken on a project?
Yeah.
Bring up old shit.
No, it was a recent one, actually, so it's fresh in my head. A couple $100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was just, obviously a great lesson, I assume.
Yep. A great lesson. And we went in the wrong. That's the biggest thing. But sometimes you got to learn when to sort of just fight your battles or not. By the time lawyers' fees and this guy's worth a lot of money. Our relationship's still fine, but he would have. There's no way it wasn't.
Yeah.
There's no point fighting it. I did fight it for a bit. My lawyer's like, look, Todd, you're on the right, but how far do you go? And he's with someone with $1 billion and me with, so you just unfortunately they'll just sink you when they want to. So it's sort of getting taught a lesson, which wasn't very fair, but you learn from it.
And so the most important part of this is for people listening is that what was the lesson? Like, how would you do it differently?
Oh, like I said before, just contract. Yeah, definitely. Said like it's a person. It's not in theory not our fault, but it is what it is. It's a nominated sub that's let you down, and it falls back on you, which isn't really right. Yeah, there's other people it should be. The architect client, they chose him, so yeah. Unfortunately, we facilitated it, but
yeah. So I guess a big part of that is the contractual side, setting up your contracts right. Yeah, and then also like sticking to the contract and not try to be like a nice guy, because builders' biggest mistake is they try to be the nice guy and then they get burnt at the end. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, no, contracts are key. 100% contracts are key. Make sure those payment claims are right, and if you do everything right, that's the best thing. Yeah, 100%. In terms of builders, what are some of the misconceptions people have about builders out there? Do you think? Oh, that they're trying to rip you off. That's the biggest one. It doesn't work that way. Sure there are cowboys out there, but just got a bit more trust. I think. Old. Yeah. I think it's kind of the professional aspect, right? Like builders are, they're not just guys swinging hammers. You guys are consultants. You guys are managing projects. You're managing 95% of the budget. Yeah. There's a lot of trust involved as well, but just gotta. There's misconception out there for a few things, which isn't ideal. What are some traits, success leaves clues, as they say. What are some traits you've seen out there in successful construction business owners and operators versus not, ones that sort of just tick along and don't get anywhere?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably a few little systems in place, good team. I think team's important, and bringing up a team with you. You're only as good as your team. So, I think that's probably been my key attributes, like bring up a good team environment, and good guys. If you got that and you do a good job, then you'll do well.
Yeah,
it's sort of basics, really.
And what do your team members care about these days?
Good question. I don't know. I think most of them are pretty passionate. The young guys probably keen for a Friday beer.
So they want some sort of social aspect to the business. They want to be able to enjoy coming to work.
Yeah.
It's not like the olden days where they come for their paycheck and they bounce.
Yeah, well, some people do. You might have a couple like that. I think we got two or three guys like that. But that's all good. That's them, Yeah,
that's fine.
But, as long as the other 95%, are pretty keen to get along and enjoy being there and enjoying doing their work and coming to work and, creating a cool result at the end as well. Being proud of what they do, which is cool. I've got, a lot of our foremen are like, oh, yeah, when it comes to a roof shed or whatever, they invite all the other sites and like showing off their work, which is cool. And they'll be like, oh, check out what I've done, which is epic. And the boys like looking at other guys' jobs and go, oh, yeah, sweet, this is cool. Or how'd you do this sort of thing? So it's all learning and, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, there's definitely that aspect to it, especially when you're working on these architectural builds. There's a massive level of satisfaction in terms of creating sometimes art pieces almost.
Yeah. One at the moment at Cheshire, but it's really cool. It's different, which is, that's the cool thing. It's really different, which is, I think the guys love it as well,
Yeah. In terms of, I was just going to ask you something now. It just literally just slipped my mind. But, oh yeah, do you guys, do you buy utes for all you guys? Everyone have a brand new ute?
No, we got a couple. We got a few utes and a few vans, but not everyone.
And how do you decide who gets a ute?
Well, typically the foreman, and then some of the guys already have their own good cars that they want to use anyway, so they can have that and a bit more of a pay rise than a car,
Yeah. Yeah, we've had a lot of controversy on this podcast around whether people should give vans or utes out or not,
Yeah, it's hard, eh? Yeah, we've got a few, but yeah, it is the way. Not everyone can have one, It's, money doesn't grow on trees. So
yeah, exactly.
It doesn't grow on trees, and it is a cost, so it is a big cost.
Yeah.
Maintenance and everything.
And so Todd, where you're at in your career now, what does success mean to you now?
Question, I think giving back a bit, giving back to the industry and getting the young guys on a good directory. I like seeing the young guys come through and yeah, I still love building as well, especially the finished product and the owners and their families enjoying their new homes that they're going to, which is always pretty satisfying.
Yeah, and do you ever sort of, there's a lot of talks around, you said before, around the industry, it's pretty bad, New Zealand especially, Australia as well, but I know the stats in New Zealand, I think it was 52 tradies take themselves out every year.
Yeah.
Which is, it's just crazy. Do you ever struggle with, the anxiety or depression or keeping it together, and how do you sort of manage that?
Yeah, I feel I'm fine, but I've got friends that struggle with it, and you just got to talk to them, Just got to talk to them, and we all go through some tough times, especially I've gone through some tough times with losing some money, but yeah, just trying to keep a positive outlook, which is sometimes pretty hard, but yeah, definitely talking is the biggest thing. I was trying to talk to my mates that struggle a bit, which is really important.
Yeah, and I think a big part as well is that I've just kind of noticed as well. I mean, it's just like everyone. If you, if you know that you're not the only one going through the stuff, sometimes that's enough to just kind of keep you.
Yeah,
keep you
yeah. I got a mate that he told himself last year. Actually, he had a big company, Auckland Brick and Block, and no one saw it coming.
Wow.
He just. Yeah, no one saw it coming, but yeah, he would have had massive stresses, big company, big stress, but yeah, he obviously didn't talk to anyone, no one saw it coming. Wife, 3 kids, in the trade as well, so, and it is more he's a successful guy, so no rhyme or reason, right? He must have been stressed and something was eating him up.
Yeah. So that's just the importance of, a big part of why we started this podcast as well, was just to kind of like get people some insight into other people's, life in terms of how they run their business and also how they deal with this sort of stuff, because like everyone goes through, you've been around a long time, you got 20 guys, you're building all these big architectural homes. You've just gone through a process, you lost a bunch of money, it's a lot of stresses, everyone's in the same boat.
Oh, everyone is, yep. As I said, just got to carry on, eh?
Yeah.
It's always good stuff out there to look up to, look forward to as well.
Yeah.
Get out fishing, have a break as well. It's not all about work.
Yeah.
Definitely work-life balance is key as well.
100%. You got family? Got kids?
Yep.
How many kids have you got?
Just 2 kids.
Oh, cool. How old are they?
13 and 10.
Oh, that's a cool age.
Yeah. No, real good.
And how have you practically kind of navigated family life versus business life? Because, running a construction business can be all-consuming at stages, and then obviously you got family that you need to give some attention to sometimes.
Yeah. It's not easy either, eh?
Yeah.
You're there, try to be there a lot, but, and then, work as well. So it's a hard balancing act, but yeah, you just got to be there, especially in the weekends, It's okay. Going to kids' sport, be there for the sport and their activities is key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you make a big emphasis on seeing them on the weekends?
Yeah, mate, never miss any sports games, always there for that. That's key. And you spend as much time as you can, especially in the weekends. We usually take a couple of trips a year as well, like a couple of family trips. So you have to do these things. You only live life once, spend a lot of time with your family. It's not all about work.
Yeah. And do you think you can still, in 2024, do you think you could be uber successful running a construction business and have a real healthy family life at the same time? Do you think that's still possible?
100%. Yep.
So it's doable.
It's definitely doable.
And how do you see some people kind of getting it wrong? Or how have you got it wrong in the past?
Probably over committing, probably. Yeah, that's probably our worst thing, is over committing. That's when you're going to make mistakes. You can only do what you can do, right? So we have taken on a bit too much work at some points, and that's when it turns to shit.
Right.
So just try and just do what you can do.
And not sort of, don't try to squeeze everything out of it.
Don't overcommit, yeah. Yeah. So, we've been getting a few calls lately that, because the market's changed, people are like, I want it done now. Well, it's like, we can't do anything till next year, but, it'll be easy enough to go, yeah, cool, we'll take that on and get some more guys, but that just doesn't work. We're at our comfy place at the moment, like 20 people's good. Manageable, we've got 2 of us that run it, which is epic.
Yeah. Has there been anyone in your life that's been quite influential in terms of like how you look up to in terms of how you run your business or family or just life?
No, I think I was lucky enough. My brother was a builder, so I learned quite a bit off him over the States. Had a pretty good guy that I worked for, still a good mate and sort of mentor in a different sort of way, not so much learning the building, but sort of definitely work-life balance. He's good at that. So taught me a few things like that and a bit of culture. So no, he's been pretty good, influential for me. So it's good.
Oh, that's good. Older bro, that's always good.
The older bro, and then you're the guy that I work for. So that's good.
Some people just know how to live well, and I think sometimes it's something that we got to learn, especially me and a lot of us, you can work and you can do stuff and you can be productive, but it's a skill in itself to learn how to like live well. Enjoy.
You got to relax sometimes as well, It's really important.
100%.
You're a long time dead. So
yeah.
So you got a good balance is key. Back in the day when we first started off, you're balls to the wall and there's no time for anything. But, now it's sort of getting a bit of a balance, which is key.
Yeah. And there's stages as well. Like, you're not going to have the balance perfectly right every time. There's no such thing as balance when you're starting.
You just got to take those times, man. Like, we know next year will be a busy year because we'll have a few finishing up by Christmas time, you know. So this year we'll enjoy without having too many Christmas deadlines, but next year we're going to probably have 3 Christmas deadlines. So you know that's going to be busy then, so take a little bit of time in between and then get yourself prepared for the chaos.
Yeah, 100%. And what makes you kind of like the happiest in life at the moment? Like what sort of the elements that kind of like that you're enjoying the most out of life right now?
It's everything, family life, work, you know, doing good projects, get them done, seeing the boys go good, and yeah, everything. It's a positive outlook on life.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's sort of like a lot of hope connected to it, a lot of positive, you know, outlook.
Yep. Yeah. Well, we got enough negativity in the news that we read every day, right? That doesn't help things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it is tough. It is going to be tough out there for the next year, but we're lucky enough to hopefully push on through, and hopefully it's better towards the end of next year to, you know, pick up some more jobs.
Yeah. So obviously the market's not as good as it was a few years ago, and it's sort of like a lot tougher out there. What are you guys doing? You know, obviously you've got some projects in the pipeline, so are you guys all good?
Yeah, we're good for the next sort of year, which is good. Lucky we picked up some, and we got to, you know, they're still getting pretty good leads at the moment, which is good. I think it's just a bit more competitive out there, but you know, I think it's good for the building industry in a way because it does get rid of people that shouldn't be in the industry. You know, last few years have been so busy, anyone could have pretended to be a builder and gone and got work, you know. And you see some shockers out there. So it'll be good, hopefully get rid of some of the people that shouldn't be in the industry, really. It'll be good.
And what advice do you have for builders out there? You know, you've been around a long time, so you've been through downturns.
Yeah, we started in a downturn. We started in the recession and managed to, you know, tick through that.
Yeah. So what advice do you have to other people going through the same, you know, struggling to get work? Like, you know, is there anything that you'd recommend for them in terms of getting through this tight patch?
You just got to push on through, you know, and don't be afraid to, you know, ask for help, or, you know, there's other builders out there that probably need more guys as well. So jump on, and, you know, you're always going to find some work, and don't be afraid to let go of guys, you know, as well. That's the key. You know, if you can't afford it and you don't have to work on, you know, you just got to go back to basics. If you got guys out there that might have had, like, you know, 5 or so guys and they weren't on the tools, you know, unfortunately, just worst case scenario, just jump back on the tools. You know, that's what your skill is. Get out there and do those jobs. There's lots of decks and fences with bathrooms, you know, that's just get back to basics.
Yeah, almost like don't let your ego get in the way.
100%.
Yeah, and make the tough calls.
No one's too good to, you know, to get back on the tools and, you know, to do that stuff. That is your skill. That's what you should be able to do. That's your trade. So, yeah, that's what I always say. I said, oh, it can't be that bad. There's always work to do. There's always something out there.
Yeah, 100%. We've come, that's almost like an hour now,
Sweet.
Todd. So
Cool.
it's time's gone so quickly, eh? So it's been awesome. Thanks you for coming on. I'm going to run you through some rapid fire questions at the end, if that's all right.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Start real personal. No. Just to get a little bit of insight into your business. But yeah, thanks for making the time for coming on and to come on the podcast. And yeah, I think a lot of guys would have got a lot out of that already. So appreciate that, mate. Cool. So tell me, how big is your team?
20 guys.
20 guys. Awesome. What's your crew mix between qualified versus unqualified?
Well, good question at the moment. Probably maybe 80-20.
Okay.
80 qualified. Yeah.
How many projects did you complete last year?
4, 5.
Okay. What was your turnover? Under 1 mil, 1 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 7, 7 to 10, 10 mil plus.
10 plus.
What's the lowest gross profit margin building companies should be aiming for?
The lowest gross profit margin, that they should be the lowest?
Yeah.
Oh, it shouldn't be anything under 12. Like, you're going backwards.
Yeah. Free quote or paid quote?
Mix.
QS or price yourself?
QS.
Project management software or spreadsheet?
Spreadsheet. And I use both.
Yeah. We use Builder-Trend for some stuff.
We use Builder-Trend, for
spreadsheets for some.
scheduling,
Fixed price or charge up?
Charge up.
Texting or talking on the phone?
Talking on the phone.
EV or petrol head?
Mix.
Mix. Hybrid.
I do have a F-150 hybrid.
Oh, you have a
So I got an
first
American
builder.
American tank hybrid.
yeah, yeah, makes no
Sweet.
sense.
So it can be both. It can be both. It's
Yeah.
good on the petrol when you want it to be, and it's electric around town, which is great.
Oh well, congratulations, Todd. You're the first builder that have not just said petrol head.
I do love petrol.
Would you rather have a beer with an architect, a subby, or a council member?
Architect and subby, both of them together. It's not
Architect
a council
and
member.
subby together. Council member can wait outside.
Yeah. Well, the council person does wait outside. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the rain.
Jock or hippie?
So again.
Jock? Are you a jock or a hippie?
Oh, mix.
Wine or whiskey?
Whiskey.
Makita, DeWalt, or Milwaukee?
Oh, Makita.
These days, apprentices are A, soft, B, open-minded, C, hard workers.
Mix. All of the above.
Are you too mean or too nice to your staff?
Oh, they say I'm too mean, so yeah.
You'll say too nice. They say too mean.
yeah, they definitely say too mean.
What's your most used emoji?
Emoji, not a big emoji. Probably a thumbs up, mate. That's it.
That's as crazy as it gets. Are you an extrovert or introvert?
Extrovert.
What song gets you pumped up for the day?
Oh, good question. Oh, if I'm going snowboarding, it'd be Bro Home by Pennywise, to be fair.
Oh, nice. Pennywise. Favorite business book or resource out there that's helped you? in
Business book or resource? I'm going to pass on that one. I don't know.
That's all good. What's one item you can't live without?
One item has to be an item.
Yeah, an
Not
item.
a person or something.
Not
yeah.
a person, an
Oh,
item.
item. Fuck. Boat.
Love it. Who has inspired you the most in life or in business?
Inspired me in life. Oh, my granddad. Yeah.
Love it. What did he do?
He do. Yeah, he was just a good dude, all round dude. He was a commercial fisherman and then fishing.
Yeah.
He was in
good
the
man.
Navy actually for a long time, but you know, he had a what do you call it? Fishing charter company. He was just an all round good dude.
Good role model.
Yeah. Good
Awesome.
old bugger.
Oh, love it. Cool, man. Did you have fun?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Thank you so much again
no
for
worries.
coming on. And yeah, like I said, I think a lot of guys would have got a lot of insights into this as well. So yeah, appreciate it, man.
Sweet. All good.